That's the doorbell at Jimmy's house. Now, when you come to my house, my doorbell sounds like this.
Hey, welcome to the People's Weekly, April 27th, 2018. I'm Tim Best Buds. I'm here with Canadian Glenn. Hello,
Hola.
Glenn.
Hola.
How are you, Glenn?
Oh, not too bad. Seems to be spring. Finally. Looks like the third winter may be over. It's about 72 Fahrenheit here today. Dig it.
Dig it. I'm trying to sound enthusiastic. You know, it's hard for me, especially when I'm this tired.
Well, it's
yeah.
the effort that counts.
Yeah, it's taking me like 20 minutes just to tweet the show out, I think. I'm trying to type it in right now. What's going on with the view up here?
Oh, well, we're into season 9. The view up here is now in its 5th year of existence. I don't know how. I don't know why. But it is. Had the season 9 premiere. Only got a couple more weeks to go before there's a break for a couple weeks for the second half of May. I'll be traveling to RightsCon, which is a huge digital rights, human rights conference in Toronto, Canada. See, I said that like an American. I said Toronto.
How is that supposed to be said?
Trana.
Trana sounds like I'm trying to fix my car.
Yeah, pretty much. You can go half American, half Canadian and go Toronto. There's no T.
Yeah, I always thought it was Toronto. But
Not for Canadians.
from now on, I'm going to call it Trana.
Yeah, Trana.
I'll fool everybody to think I'm one of you.
Yeah, actually, I spell it Trawnnna. Trana.
Tirana. Tarantula. Oh, man. I don't know why that's funny. Like I said, I'm delusional because I'm so tired. May Day's around the corner. It's next Tuesday. I want to be in downtown. I've decided I'm not going to cover the march with the workers and all that because everyone else covers that and they'll all have cameras there and you can see all the picket signs and the people with the colorful shirts and the celebrities talking and all that. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go to LAPD where the march is going to end over there and check out all their parking complexes and see if they're accommodating the NSM and the quote-unquote non-racist Trump supporters who stand side by side with the NSM spewing racist stuff against immigrants and black people and everything else. And it's usually like 20 to 80 of them max, and there's 300 or 400 cops out there lined up facing us against them. And there's 15,000 people out there last year. I mean, there's always 15, 20,000 workers and activists and stuff marching. So I think it'd be more beneficial for me to go and show the people of LA how their tax dollars are being spent. Millions of dollars to protect some Nazis. To protect a group of 80 Nazis who get to park in police garages, stand on police property, have all the police ready to kill and beat everyone in the world to protect them, get escorted to and from the march, and then get a police escort out where freeways are blocked off. You know, they talk about blocking off streets, how it's a horrible thing and it's so dangerous and we should run people down and do it. Yet The police block off all the streets so a bunch of Nazis and Trump supporters can have the freeway free for themselves to go home without being harassed by people that hate Nazis. Pretty crazy, man. And our tax dollars pay for that. So I'm going to go to that side of downtown and cover that. And eventually the march will catch up to where I'm at. But I think that's more beneficial. I hope I'm right, you know?
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, because I could, it was a dilemma because I could go down there and maybe the Nazis aren't coming this time. Or maybe I'm in the wrong area and I don't get to cover what's happening. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I'm going to do my best according to what I've seen the last few times they came, when they leave and get escorted out, how it works. So hopefully I'll get something interesting and we could shame LAPD with it and maybe even ask some questions like, why do all the people have tax dollars have to go to pay for this group of Nazis who should be on the terrorist watch list? You know what I mean?
Yep.
Would they do the same thing for ISIS, like ISIS supporters out there with an ISIS flag, you know, screaming death to America, death to infidels and all this? Is that okay? Because I think they should get the same escorts that the Nazis get. They're both terrorist organizations. But the police will protect one and not the other. And I don't think that's quite fair.
No, but, I don't think there are any members of ISIS on LAPD or the councils in the area. As far as Nazis, well, maybe.
Maybe? Yeah. So, you know what? That kind of leads us into the first topic here in an odd way. First topic is another white supremacist went on a shooting spree with an assault rifle, this time at a Waffle House in Tennessee. The media and government, especially the Trump camp, are silent as usual when the terrorist is a right-wing white person. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing, that the government, all the way down from the top, all the way down to the lackeys at the bottom that are the idiots patrolling the streets for them, seem to support white supremacists above all. And it's ridiculous. You know what, Glenn? On my Twitter timeline, there's a whole bunch of Trump supporters in Canada. And that doesn't make any sense to me. Like, they can't even vote for the guy.
Well, it's also relative. I mean, Canada, to Twitter's dismay, is really not anywhere near the size of Facebook in Canada. Accurate estimates put Canadian social media users somewhere between 10 and 15% have a Twitter account. That's it. And Facebook is, 85%. So Twitter really hasn't caught on as much in Canada as you would think. But that also makes it easy for a certain group or certain belief system to make a big impact if they automate, if they have an organized effort to do it. And I think that's what's going on in Canada more than anything. These people that are on the Trump train, he's just the flavor of the month, that's all. That's the way these people think anyway.
Yeah, I just don't understand how making quote-unquote America great again would help Canada, especially when the great again means basically going back to slavery and lynchings if they all had it their way. And, killing everyone who's not white, eliminating them, destroying. I mean, they do it now, but I mean, on a mass level, what they want to do, rounding up Mexican people. Maybe they deport them. Maybe they would just disappear. Who knows? That's their dream. But how is that going to benefit Canada in any way, shape, or form?
Well, It depends what you think the root issue is. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, the root issue is white immigrants, settlers in this country, who have been here, some of them 6 or 7 generations, most of them 2 or 3, now see the result of decades of poor government, poor decisions spending public money, poor giving a fuck about the people. And it's pretty easy for these people to apparently be convinced that it's everybody who doesn't look like them who is responsible for the gravy train stopping. And that's just easier for these people, I guess. You know, whether it's cognitive dissonance or just plain stupidity or what it is. But, you know, that's the default. I mean, you know, a lot of people talk about in the United States the Great Plains, the Dust Bowl. You know, there's a certain stereotype of people from that part of the United States. All you have to do is go to, you know, one of the Walmart parody sites or something, you know. You get what I mean.
They're
But
very fine people.
oh, absolutely, especially when they vote. Especially when they vote. But same thing exists in Canada. And in Canada, there's a lot fewer people. So it's much easier for them to show a majority, an actual functional stereotype, because there's just not enough people for any smaller groups to even be noticed. And that's starting to slip away. And these people can't handle it. That's the simplest way I can put it. These people are intimidated by those who do not look like them. Meanwhile, the ones who are responsible for them getting fucked over are those who look like them.
Yeah. That you know, it just never. These people can walk in with assault rifles shooting random people, and they're not terrorists. They're misunderstood. They're always kids or young men. Not, you know what I mean?
Yep.
Total different than any other race of people being able to walk in, mass murder some people, and get that kind of respect. I mean, how many black dudes? Well, black dudes don't usually go in mass murdering people for no reason. It's
No.
not. It's not. I guess culturally, it's not their thing. But not that it doesn't happen sometimes, but usually, like some dude on Twitter started. I haven't even really got a chance to look at it. I've been working, and I'm just drained. He sent me a bunch of these little pictures of black people who shot guns in a Waffle House and were arrested to prove me wrong. And I need to go into each one of these and see, because I'd be willing to bet they didn't just walk in and start killing people. It was like a dispute. It was over a woman. It was some gang stuff.
A
And it was a
job.
target. You know what I mean? It was a target. It wasn't
Yep.
like I'm just going to go in and start killing black people for
With no
no
pants.
apparent, with no pants. Yeah. And it just there's a difference. And then you got to look at the statistics of how many white people unarmed get shot by the police, how many black people unarmed get shot by the police. There's a lot to go through to debunk his bullshit, but I'm just saying
Yeah.
an average person looks at that real quick and they're like, "Oh well, yeah, well, they're wrong. These black people are shooting up Waffle Houses at alarming rates and getting off and getting arrested, and this is a tragedy."
Yeah. And then when that comes full circle, at the end of the day, they'll say, thank God that white guy shot up that Waffle House, because now the truth has been exposed about how rampant it is that black people are doing it. That's
Keep
the
saying,
end goal.
yeah, we don't know how many of those black people would have shot up that Waffle House or other ones if that white dude didn't shoot them. That's their mentality. How sick is that? It's insane.
Well, the other thing is, look at the black man who disarmed him. Why is this guy not, you know, the
Why isn't
next
he getting
fuck?
the NRA Medal of the Courage Award?
Well, why isn't he just on every morning show, every Sunday show? Why isn't he on 60 Minutes? If this was some Ken doll veteran from Iraq who did that, Christ, everybody would know what he looked like.
He got book deals and movie deals already coming through. Yeah.
Exactly. And then, like you alluded to in the topic, it seems that President Trump doesn't want to talk about this one.
No.
This guy doesn't fit the BIE model, I guess.
Well, I think we can stop calling Trump a racist now because he loves Kanye West. I actually put out a tweet about it. I usually don't care about celebrities, but I had this vision. I don't know if I can find it. Oh, here it is. I put out a tweet that says, "I envision a Blacks for Trump's Legal Defense Fund concert. It's about to happen. Speakers or performers will be Kanye West, Sheriff in quotes, David Clark, Stacey Dash, Ben Carson, Diamond and Silk, and Sean Hannity in blackface, and the Black for Trump's guy seen at every Trump campaign rally."
Wow.
That would be a beautiful concert.
Well, actually, I did see a tweet that did sum it up for me, and it's a black man and his son. And the son says, "Why is Uncle Kanye?" And the dad stops him and says, "His name's Tom. His name is Tom."
That's for real.
And then the kid goes, "We call him Uncle Tom now?" And
Yeah.
dad goes, "Yes, that's right."
Hell yeah. I mean, I understand his point, or whoever's point, that you should be able to do whatever you want, but yeah, you should also get the backlash from the people, especially if you're somebody that famous, Like, he basically just said, "I support Nazis, I support the KKK, and I'm a black dude and I don't care. You know why I'm doing this? Because it's going to make me a crap load of money. A bunch of Nazis and Klan members will be buying my albums."
And it buys him access, and it sells him as an Uncle Tom. He's publicly saying, "I am available for hire to spread your bullshit." That's kind of what it said to me.
Yeah, I see a lot of people jumping to his defense because he's a musical genius and he's so talented and he's just misunderstood and he can believe how he wants. And that's fine. Yes, he can. But why? That's like saying I shouldn't get bad reviews if I put out a bad album. He has the same mentality as Trump.
Well, there's a general commonly accepted view in Canada of Justin Bieber. It's that, okay, he found a gimmick, he made a shit ton of money, he's got a shit ton of fans, but he's not exactly the sharpest knife in the drawer.
Wait, you guys don't look at him as a god among Canadians?
No.
I was lied to.
Yes. You were probably lied to by a 13-year-old girl. But, we generally accept that, any political endorsement from Justin Bieber really doesn't mean a whole lot. And I just look at Kanye the same way. So he's made a shit ton of money. He's got a lot of fans. Doesn't mean he's not an idiot. That's all.
I was trying to unmute my I could not get it to click the unmute button. I was trying to talk and you couldn't hear me, which threw me off my whole point right there. But yeah, it's ridiculous, man. It's all a stunt for attention because now his name's in the news all the time. And like you said, the guy who saved literally, I don't know how many people, probably a dozen people.
Yep.
From getting murdered, he gets to do one day on a couple local media outlets that might get picked up all over, and then it's over.
Yep. And then if you want to go to the vehicle attack in Toronto, here's a cop, in my opinion, who did his job. Nothing more. Obviously, they can train them correctly. And this one was smart enough to do the right thing. And That's all he did, in my opinion. He did his job. He did what he's supposed to do, especially in a country like Canada. That is how our cops are supposed to do things. And now it's, oh my God, he's a national hero. He should get a medal from the Governor General. What, for doing his fucking job? No, this should be the standard that cops are held to, not the exceptional performance.
They only do that with people with guns too, man. It's not like they're like, the French fry guy is so great. Oh my God, he's the best French fry guy ever. Let's
Yeah.
commend him on the crispiness of his fries. I mean, it's like, it's only the police. Like, oh, thank you for doing your job. Thank you for
Yep.
not beating my ass or killing me today. Oh, you're such a hero. You
Yeah.
did the right thing.
I mean, you can even take a fireman or an EMT, and they just don't get the same acclaim. You know, whatever.
Yeah, I mean, a fireman saves lives while police take lives. Um,
Well,
and
yeah.
it just seems, yeah, they're not looked at as. I don't see people like, what do they call them? Red lives matter or hot lives matter. I don't know what you call fire people in lives. Yellow coat lives matter. Fire helmet
Flaming
lives
lives
matter.
matter. Flaming lives.
Yeah, we need to come up with something.
See, that's a good metaphor, though. How many times do you think the fire department pulls up to a building on fire and they decide to just surround the building and wait 3 or 4 hours, and then they'll just bring a bulldozer and knock the building over because they've decided they can't be saved? You know,
Also,
that's what the cops do, really.
yeah, it would be the equivalent of the fire department showing up and some distraught resident, so they use a flamethrower.
Yeah,
Like,
they burn it down.
they burn her down or him down because, oh, they're distraught running around like they have a mental condition and we can't control them, so let's just hose them or kill them or whatever. I mean, that's the police thing. Last
Send
night
them
I
back
put
into
a
the fire.
tweet out with a picture in front of a elderly nursing facility, and a police car pulls up and the cop goes in there real quick, and I'm like, oh no, this can't end good. I thought either somebody's abusing one of the patients there, or um, even worse. I put on the tweet was, I remember there was a news article a few years ago where a cop was called for a disorderly elderly man in a wheelchair. He like wouldn't take his pills or something like that, and he was getting aggressive. So the cop comes, somehow, supposedly, the guy in the wheelchair corners the cop, and the cop's only way out was to kill the guy, shoot his way out. I mean, it was like an 80-year-old man in a wheelchair. You had no other way to get past him or stop him than to shoot your way out of it. So yeah, I got a little nervous, but then the cop just walked out and left. I don't know. Maybe they just had him come to threaten somebody or something, you know? Like, hey, you better
Bizarre.
calm down or I'm going to lock you away forever and your life is already short, so you're screwed. I don't know, because they're such dirty, filthy assholes that I don't put anything below what they would do.
I think
Um,
that I think that leads us right into number two.
oh, yeah, moving along. I have to look what number 2 is. I closed it.
You got it?
Oh, back to the white guys. A white guy shoots 2 cops at lunch in Florida. Or 2 cops were having lunch in Florida and a white guy killed them both. But cops kill people daily and routinely demonize and attack the victims and their families of the people that they killed. But when cops get shot, why is it the world is expected to mourn the deaths of the dead thugs?
Well, again, you know, this is something that's been manufactured to be represented a certain way in the media. If it was a black man or a Latino man who killed these 2 cops, we'd still be hearing about it. But this was a white guy, and he didn't get killed. And, you know, it's just, oh, yeah. Now sports.
Do you remember years and years ago, somewhere in Texas, there was a bunch of these racists um, who decided they were all going to draw Muhammad at some center or something.
Yep.
So they all showed up. They had all these security and everything out there. Two dudes showed up. I think one of them dropped the gun. They botched everything. They shot one security guard or one cop or something in the leg. And that was this big time terror thing. Like, oh my God, terror, terror, terror on the news for weeks.
Yep.
Like, these people were provoked, one. I mean, I hate religions as much as anybody, but I'm not going to go to a convention to draw a deity to try to get somebody to attack for a point. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Who cares? I'll debate them. I'll call them crap, and I'd agree with them that the Christians and Jews are crap too, as far as religion wise. You know what I mean? I
Yep.
say, you know how the Christians say, love the sinner, hate the sin, which seems like it's impossible to do. I have one that is possible, maybe. It's love the religious, hate the religion. Like, you can say, I feel for these misguided people that are just fools and can't see past the fairy tales they're believing in. I want to help them. I want to treat them with compassion like anyone else. But fuck the shit that's brainwashing them. Fuck the religions. They'd be way better off without that. And I'm going to make sure they know that. But you know, it's fun to laugh at the religions and show them how silly they are and use their own books against them to try to put logic in their head. But to try to provoke them, you know what I mean? Just seems like crazy.
Well, of course, that was a state like Texas as well, where, human rights laws are not exactly New York State, let's put it that way. Yeah, it's a provocation. And if it was done the other way around, it would never be allowed to happen. I
But I'm
think
saying
that's the.
that was considered terror though because he shot a cop in a leg. They didn't kill
Yeah,
anyone. They didn't blow anything up. Any other time, if that was a white dude shot a cop in the leg and someone said he's a terrorist, they'd be like, oh no, he's just a guy who shot a cop in the leg. He needs to be
yeah,
locked up. That's the thing. That's what I'm saying right there. It's a total double standard.
yep.
And people try to deny this, and I'm like, how can you deny it? There's like no way you cannot see this if you.
Well, yeah, but the way the media covers it allows these people to think that they know what's going on. Because if the media doesn't tell me, it can't be important.
Yeah, and I guess a lot of people, like when I watch media, I'll hear a story, like, so see something on Twitter, right? And then what I'll do is I'll go to Fox News, I'll Google it and I'll look at all the sources: CNN, MSN, the Young Turks, the Russia Today, Al Jazeera. What is the other one? The Ring of Fire. All these different outlets. I even look at some of the alt-right ones, the conspiracy ones that go way out even. And you look at everything and you can come to a conclusion pretty much what the facts of the story are, or, get an idea. Because everybody spins it. If you're watching just CNN or MSN, you're like, oh, this is just these Republicans are the most terrible people on the earth, and the Democrats can save us. Now, I agree with them that the Republicans are among the most evil, terrible, crooked, corrupt, racist people on earth. But I don't agree that the Democrats are not pretty close to as bad and will not save anybody except their own interests. And then you watch Fox News and it's like, oh, these Democrats are attacking these brave, heroic Republicans, these filthy, dirty, criminal Democrats. And I'll say, yes, I agree with you that there's filthy, dirty, criminal Democrats, but you guys are filthy, dirty, racist criminals too. And that's, you know what I mean? Everyone has a viewpoint. We have a viewpoint here, but it's more anarchistic. And some people will say that's bad too, but we're not supporting a team that's going to oppress you. I'm not going to support an oppressor, and I don't give a fuck about that. And I'm pretty sure most of the people on this show have proven to feel the same way. An oppressor's an oppressor. It doesn't matter if it's a teeny bit less oppressive than the other oppressor. It doesn't mean you need to bow down and beg it to come and oppress you in a lighter version of the same oppression. That's ridiculous, man. Did that even make sense? I said oppression like 90 times in 2 seconds. And I'm now stoned and tired, so maybe it didn't make sense, but I tried really hard with that one.
Well, I think the issue is the way the system has deteriorated, and more people all the time understand how it really works, but more and more people are also understanding that until a whole lot more people give a shit, nothing's going to happen. So it becomes risk management. It becomes who's the least evil. And no, that's not good. It's not going to help so much in the long run, but everybody's just hoping that it won't really make things all that much worse. This is the conditions we've been trained to tolerate. And, again, until all these other people get off their fucking ass, nothing's going to change. I mean, power is never surrendered. It's taken.
Yeah, I agree. I don't know, man. Like, I think every day, like, how can I wake these motherfuckers up, man? It's like, they so tribal and cultish, cult memberish. Like, oh, the Democrats, they can do no wrong. I wish we had Obama back. Clinton would have saved us. You hate women because you didn't vote for Clinton. Then you have all the crazy cult member, insane Republicans. It's the same crap. Just, oh, Trump. He's like Jesus on earth in modern days. He can do no wrong. That when those porn stars came to his room, he was praying with them to save their souls. It's like, come on, guys. He's being treated so unfairly. How can the lying media do this to the poor guy? It's insane, man. Nobody's going to
Well,
save you from those two fucking parties. Wake the fuck up and decide you're not going to support either. And support something for the people. We don't currently have that option, but we can if we refuse their bullshit. I mean, if you
that's
got to do the Glenn thing, the Canadian Glenn, go write in some name of Asada Shakur or whoever. Pick a hero, dead or alive, write their name in.
Yep.
Don't vote for their fucking candidates. We don't want them in Congress. We don't want them in Senate. We don't want them in the White House for sure. We don't want these people anywhere. Fuck the Democrats and fuck the Republicans. And to be honest, fuck the Greens and Libertarians too. Sorry, go ahead.
No, but that's a departure from what almost everybody has been taught their entire life. You have to be on a team. People don't know any different. And they all think, well, I don't know what to do. Who's going to listen to me? Nah, fuck that. I'll join a team.
And I'm telling you people to join a fucking team. The team is the people. What's best for everybody. We pay tons of money in taxes and you spend billions on blowing motherfucking shit up around the world and building missiles and supporting defense shit. No. Give us better roads, better healthcare, fucking free education for our kids, fucking, everything. Make sure, give us better pay. Fucking make our fucking employers pay us what's right. Raise the minimum wage. Fucking, I don't get it. I feel like I'm personally responsible for the death of so many people, just like every other person in this country is who pays taxes. We're literally giving our money away to have police harass, beat, kill us, and then send other assholes overseas to slaughter fucking people.
Well, that's because of what the society is in fact based on. Profits, power. That's it.
Well, then we need to make sure the profits and power can't be attained by anybody then. That's what I've been screaming forever. That's kind of the basis for anarchy.
I understand, but There's just the vast, vast majority aren't looking.
I mean, think about profit and power. Those two words right there. Everybody says, "Oh, I want to make a profit and I want to have power." Like nobody would say that's a bad thing. Is how you do it. What if you say, "I want profit and power distributed equally to everybody"?
Oh, you're a commie then.
Now we have profit and power, and we rule ourselves. We have a government that's for us, not a government that's going around to make war for billionaires to profit off of. A government that's here for your children's children and you and your health needs and your. Man, there's so many homeless people on the streets, Glenn. It's insane. It's like I see them growing every fucking. I took a picture of a bicycle with someone, all their life belongings on it, and I tweeted out something about Trump says everything's so unfair. What about people who hoard billions of dollars while other people are in poverty living on the streets with all their worldly possessions on a damn bicycle? That's what's unfair. It's fucking insane, dude.
Well, as long as people are encouraged to stay in their cocoons and only expose themselves to information and situations that makes them feel better, nothing's going to change this, in my opinion.
Yeah, I guess you're probably right. Here's something related. Go ahead. I didn't know you were going to say something.
No.
I was going to say, finally, the Bushes are dropping like flies. First Barbara, now George H.W. may be on his way out too. Much like the cops in the last topic, these are horrible racist people and literal war criminals and terrorists. Why does the mainstream push the don't speak ill of the dead narrative? And if this is the case, why didn't the media do the same thing with Castro, Chavez, etc.?
Well, again, I think it's the same reason, because it's what power demands. I mean, the Bush family have been very consistent servants of power and gotten quite a bit of it themselves. So, they're in the club. So, of course, that's terrible when club members leave us, finally.
That's the problem.
Yep.
That's the problem. All these idiots that live in this country. I believe I was one of these idiots before I thought about things the right way and I figured out it's all bullshit. Everyone thinks they're going to be the next billionaire, millionaire, whatever. So they're going to support the others that are like what they're going to be. When in
Yep.
reality, just do the math on how many millionaires or billionaires there are in the world and how many people there are, and check your odds and see if you're still going to stay on that side. You should be backing the people. You should be backing the poorest people first. I don't understand why people want anyone to be underneath them.
As long as they're not the bottom. That's the key there.
But why do you want anybody above you? And why would you want anyone below you?
Well,
Why wouldn't you want everyone to have equal opportunities, equal everything? Like, why does someone deserve less than what you deserve?
There's no factual basis for that. It's simply an emotional sale. That's all it is.
I mean, a guy busting his ass digging ditches for a construction site is getting paid $12 an hour. Gets a few hours while he digs a ditch, and then, they'll call him back in a couple of days or something. Why is he looked at lower than somebody that sits in an office doing nothing for $80,000 a year, talking on the phone, bullshitting, selling whatever? Why is that guy better? And why are either one of them better or less than the guy flipping burgers at McDonald's making minimum? You know what I mean? You're all workers. You're all working hard. And some might say that the more you make, the less labor you're actually doing.
Yeah, I'd say that's basically accurate. But I mean, the other factor, the office worker who's making $80K is probably played the game. They have student loans. They have a mortgage. They're playing the game. So
Sometimes the burger workers and ditch diggers also have student loans.
but they
Sometimes
haven't
a mortgage as well,
but
or a
they
rent at
haven't
least. Sorry, go ahead.
but they haven't hit the level where they get that description put on them. And statistically, minimum wage workers, for the most part, women, minorities. So you can see the media problem right there.
Yeah, it's just ridiculous. Like, workers are workers, you know. Look at, we've said this before on the show. Look at Trump. He's a billionaire, the hardest working billionaire there is, he says, right? Now look at him. Does it look like he's ever done a day of fucking work in his life?
Nope.
I mean, work is not sitting in a meeting with some executives and saying, "Oh, what a rough fucking day. They just handed me millions of dollars. Now I gotta go be on television." Okay, yeah, that's work. But, you know, then you get to go golf hundreds of days out of the year. That's obviously what he's used to doing. I mean, if you do it as president of the United States, you obviously did it even more before. Or you're just a piece of shit that doesn't give a fuck about anything. That could be the other thing. But, you know, the richer the person, the less work they do. And
The
it seems
less
like,
work, the less work they demand that they do because they have money.
and you got all these poor people slaving to keep them rich. Doesn't
Yep.
seem quite fair to me.
Nope.
Yeah, I mean, we need to revolt against this shit around the world. The people, you need to unite. We don't need to look at these countries anymore like, oh, they're in Japan, they're in Russia, they're in Australia, they're in the UK, we're in the United States, they're in Canada, they're in, you know what I mean, the Middle East. We need to say, look, we're the billions. We're the billions. You need to be scared as fuck because we're about to turn on y'all. Everywhere in the world. Our leaders are going down, our corporations are going down. We're attacking y'all at will. Fuck this shit. We ain't gonna take it anymore. We did that, we'd have a better world as soon as the war's over.
But the reality is that the powers that be are quite aware of that. And that's one of the reasons I think that corporate mainstream media is so skewed, because they're well aware of the fear of unification of people. If that ever happens, yeah, they're fucking toast. It's over. So, you know, it's a counter operation to keep people different. Even if their situations are exactly the same, except for the currency they use, nope, they're different. Have to keep people fractionalized. It's the only way they'll stay in power.
Yeah. Judith Poe's in the chat. She says war is big business. Honest days work for honest days pay, and richer people richer people on average demand more from employees, etc.
Yep.
That's true. You know, and that's not, I don't know if it's just rich people. It seems like I think we talked about this before too, Glenn, you and me maybe. You give somebody a position of manager or supervisor, and some people let that shit go to their head, making 50 cents or $1 more than the people under them, and they'll start treating the people like shit, demanding more of them, and you know what I mean? Because now I'm in charge of something. I have a cool little title.
Yep.
And it goes all the way up, so you can imagine the billionaire that owns that company like, you know, fuck you all. I'll applaud you in public and tell you how great you are, but really, I'm not going to do anything to show you that you're worth anything.
Absolutely.
I interviewed a lady. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say that this is the difference that we've seen over time. People go back and they say, look at the Greeks, look at their democracy. Well, what were the real values back then? It seemed to be intelligence, patience, diligence, you know, people that did long-term projects for the general good. That was what made you elite. Well, that's completely long gone. The only thing that makes you elite now is money and power. So, you know,
Yeah, I just, back to the original thing. We went on a little tangent off the original thing, but yeah, fuck the Bushes. I don't want, I said Barbara Bush when I hope she takes them all to hell with her. And someone got mad and said, "You're a terrible person." I said, "I know. Barbara Bush is dancing with demons." She was a horrible ass woman. I don't know why anyone would say how great she was. Um, like when Reagan died, woohoo! A piece of shit who fucked the country over more than anything in my lifetime is dead. Should have been dead a lot sooner. Too bad. What's his name didn't hit him in the head with the gun. The assassin. What was his name? Hinckley or something.
Hinckley.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, he was trying to save the world.
Well, the more madness that can be maintained, whether it's real or not, I think that's another big factor in this day and age, the way things work. People talk about madness all the time, but a lot of it doesn't really exist. It's just you're told it exists because then it invokes something else. And when governments play the same game and media works with them, you know, it's destabilizing to say the least. I mean, look at what's happened in Korea in the last 48 hours.
Yeah.
Both leaders have stood in the other's country. They are still officially at war. This has been going on for over 50 years. How come U.S. State Department really doesn't have anything to say? How come Trump doesn't have anything to say? Maybe because peace is not in the American interest? No. You're
Hey,
kidding.
what's his name? Lindsey Graham, I think. He was saying that they need to give Trump the Nobel Peace Prize for uniting North and South Korea. And you know what I thought? Like, why not? They gave Obama the
Uh,
thing. He was bombing people. They gave horrible people the Nobel Peace Prize. So, like, why not? It's a meaningless piece of shit prize nowadays. I mean, and I think giving it to Trump will just put it in his coffin. People just know the bullshit it is now.
that's true. That would be the death knell if they did that. So maybe even they figured it out that they might have went too far with Obama. So, again, they're more concerned about their own reputation, not actually bestowing a prestigious award.
Yeah, I don't know, Glenn. In this country, a lot of these people think Obama was the greatest man to ever walk the planet. If he could be king of the United States, it would be a totally great thing to do. Um, People really, I mean, there's people like, oh, I wish Obama was still president. I want Obama. Trump could never be like, well, I mean, I agree. As far as a person, Obama was smoother, better. Like if you were gonna be friends with a war criminal, Obama would be my choice way before Trump. You know what I mean? Could
Yeah.
smoke some weed together and try to forget the fact he's a war criminal that's murdered millions of people. But yeah, as
But
far as
that's,
as far as being a evil corporate tool, murderous motherfucker, both of them are equal. Both neither one of them should get any kind of peace prize.
yeah. But I
Did any of
mean,
did any of the Bushes get the peace prize?
no, no,
I didn't.
definitely not.
Because I mean, if they give it to Trump, they should just hand it out to everybody. Like just
Well, I mean, like I said, they've hit the wall with their credibility. They're not going to go that far because they're signing their own death warrant.
yeah.
Hopefully. Or they can go ahead and blow up their shit. I don't care.
I don't know. It just seems like everything that happens with Trump gets normalized so quick. It's like, oh, Trump's doing this now. Trump's doing that now.
But I
Trump's
mean,
threatening this. Trump's fucking up this. Trump and the porn stars. Who cares?
you speak about Lindsey Graham doing it. Well, pff, talk about fanboy. So, this is just how it works now. It's almost like he's working through the GOP senators. And they get burned or they get implicated or all of a sudden there's a warrant on them and then they're out of the picture. And then it's a new one. So,
I like the sound effects, Glenn. You're like that guy from the Police Academy movies.
Well, I'm not quite that talented. No way. But, yeah. But you know what I mean. It's a sinking ship. And it doesn't mean it's not going to be replaced with a ship just like it, because that's basically what the system demands. But this ship is sinking.
Yeah. I do wonder what's going to happen with Trump. He went on, I know this isn't one of the topics, but he went on Fox and Friends, what was it, yesterday? And threw his lawyer under the bus. Hannity threw his lawyer under the bus first. He's like, no, he's a total piece of shit liar. I'm not his client. Now Trump's like, he just helped me with a few things.
Yeah, sure.
But he wants to get the documents to see what he helped him with, what's in, you know what I mean? The seized documents of FedSat. He wants to take a look at that.
Yeah, he wants to decide what's privileged. And he's the suspect of the investigation. This is like John Gotti saying that he gets to decide what the evidence is in court against the FBI. Like,
yeah, wouldn't
fuck
that be
off.
Nice? Wouldn't that be nice if they did that to every little dope dealer that gets arrested?
My God.
If they got treated as unfairly as Trump, could you imagine?
Unbelievable.
That's what I was thinking when he keeps saying how unfairly he's being treated. I was like, can you imagine if every black dude that got arrested got treated as unfairly as Trump? What a great world we might have.
That's ridiculous. But yet the same Fox News, when Putin goes on RT, then it's propaganda immediately. Doesn't even matter what he said. It's propaganda. But when they have Trump on to be a total idiot stick, they're doing some sort of service for the nation or whatever.
Yeah, Judith Poe just put in the chat, pathetic narcissism is normalized. Oh, did you see the Fox and Friends host faces?
Yeah.
Oh my God. That was like, what the fuck? But we gotta still keep this little pretend smile going here. This is our guy. How fucked are we?
Well, I mean, like I said a while ago, I don't know if there's ever been somebody in history who is a combination of Caligula and Nero. But we may be seeing it. It's too bad Trump doesn't have a couple horses. I could see them getting in on the cabinet. That's back to Caligula.
Yeah, wow. Yeah,
whatever.
I wonder how long his wife and her husband, Jared Kushner, are going to be able to stay in the White House, because they're both under investigation now. And is she gonna roll over on her father / husband, and is he gonna roll over on his father-in-law / cuck, or whatever you call it?
Well, I think it's all going to happen at once. I don't think there's going to be much more of these incremental arrests and arraignments and indictments. I think it's just going to be a big package when it comes.
You think the Cohen thing was a nail in the coffin?
I don't know. To be honest, I'm really not paying a whole lot of attention to it on purpose. But what he's done is prove that he's a shitty lawyer. And I think that's the biggest, that's all I need to see. You know, I mean, I don't even need to know any details. I've just seen the way he's conducted himself since he was raided, dude's fucking guilty.
Yeah, Trump says he's a businessman. A businessman. He doesn't know what business he's in, but he's a businessman. A great
Mm-hmm.
businessman. And sometimes he's a lawyer.
Right.
Like, what does that even mean? The dude's the dumbest president in my lifetime. And that's saying a lot. We had George W. Bush. He's dumber than the standard ape. Trump's dumber than the dumbest ape. Trump's dumber than the dumbest. I don't even know what animal has no brain. He's dumber than a fucking palm tree. Okay.
Did we? Yeah, I was gonna say, did we actually even answer that one, or? But we'll move on.
Yeah, we did. We did answer it. You said
Okay.
it was the same as the police. You answered it actually. You said it was the same as the police,
Okay.
and it is. It's
Yeah,
no
I
different.
remember now.
Yeah. The tangents have taken over. This is so unlike our show. Number fourth topic. Homeland Security is building a massive database of journalists, bloggers, and reporters. They will be categorized by intent. Besides the obvious fascism, would this be a blatant violation of freedom of the press as protected under the First Amendment?
Well, I would say absolutely it's a First Amendment violation. But this is Turkey. This is Egypt. This is just about every Persian Gulf state. This is Iraq,
Russia, yeah.
Afghanistan, Iran. This is probably at least half the countries in the world. Maybe the issue is they're just coming public with it. That's all. And don't forget, the United States is a member of Five Eyes. So, they also have the intelligence services from the United Kingdom, Canada, Australia, and New Zealand at their disposal. Because, like I've talked about on a show or two of mine, the Five Eyes partners can easily get around their domestic prevention rules because they just let, like the NSA could let GCHQ spy on American citizens.
And they also share information with each other.
Yeah. And then they just pass it back. So I think just coming public is the whole idea of this, because anybody who thinks it doesn't already exist is kidding themselves.
Well, but I think maybe they're watching some journalists, but now they're going to step it up. I think that's the thing. These are journalists. In this country, we're always taught about freedom of speech and freedom of the press, and the press is keeping tabs on the government, and they make sure, journalists protect the people and all kinds of stuff. Now that's not the case anymore. Journalists are just corporate. But I doubt they're going to be watching Sean Hannity and Alex Jones and, most of the CNN, and I don't think those are the people they're going to be watching.
No.
I think they're going to be watching
But they weren't anyway.
Yeah, but I'm saying I think they're going to be watching all the little people now.
Well,
like they'll be watching you, Glenn. You're in trouble.
Oh, gee, do you think I'm not aware of that? Like, where have you been the last fucking 5 years? I mean...
Well, I think up until we just announced it, you were lying.
Oh, yeah? Okay. Now sports.
Now that it was on mainstream news, it's true. Don't you get it, Glenn?
Yeah, that's about it.
Oh, man.
But the issue specifically with the First Amendment is that's about protection from the government infringing on your rights.
Well, wouldn't this be that case?
What? Not when it's your corporate employer.
Oh, that's true. But
that's a suit
employer.
That's a suit that you have to bring on your own and claim it to be unconstitutional behavior. There's no direct recourse against your employer if your employer is not the government somehow.
Yeah, but I just think watching that, they're going to be watching like Unicorn Riot. They're going to be watching Anti-Media. They're going to be watching all these.
They have been for years, man.
I know they are, but now they're saying it's okay to do it.
Well, like I said, the only reason they're coming public is because they want to make some kind of threat. They're giving notice for something.
So they can start arresting people or something, right?
Perhaps. Or they can make a false flag, or who knows what. They've planted the scenario. That's how it works.
Yeah. I mean, we've known they've always been watching. It just seems, yeah, you're right. There's a reason they're coming public with it. I wonder if it got leaked or if they actually, I mean, purposefully leaked or accidentally leaked or non-intentionally leaked. I don't know. I didn't look into it enough to see where the story originated from.
I'm not seeing much of a denial.
Well, they never denied it. They're spying on
So,
every person, press or not. Basically, they're not denying that.
but see, that's another part of the game right there. They're not denying it on purpose. Even
Because
if it's
why bother?
if
The people will accept it.
it's
They'll
not just
accept it.
that. No, it's not just that. It's the ambiguity. It's like you can't be sure now. Because the way they think about things, it's better to have people guessing than for them to actually know that, yes, they're being watched. It keeps people more on edge if they don't know.
But how do you not know?
Oh, there's lots of people that don't know. It can be right in front of them and they don't know.
See, we're back to the original thing I was saying, I think. Right now, the Democrats feel like they're being watched, and it's so horrible. But then when Obama or Clinton is in there, the Republicans feel like they're being watched. It's so horrible. How come they can't see we're all being watched, regardless of who's in power? And it is horrible, and we need to come together and stop this shit. We need to bring our government down off their little high horse they're on, by any and all means necessary, as a famous person once said, named Malcolm X.
Because they're part of the game, man.
Man, people are so damn stupid. Like, we got all the power and we're just too dumb to realize it. And every day that goes by, we have less and less power.
But you have more and more followers.
I don't even think they're
They,
following it. I think they're just brainless tools that go along with whatever.
but that's the trade-off, and people are buying it. So, you got to start there.
Man, it's really trippy. I'll go on a rant and I'll be wide awake, and then as soon as the rant's over, I'll start like, oh man, life sucks. I'm so tired.
More ranting then.
Yeah. Yeah. Fuck Homeland Security. I don't know if we've achieved the media level where they'll be monitoring us yet, but archive this, Jay, right now. Fuck you, Homeland Security. Thank you. When we reach that level, they'll know we disapprove of this shit. You want to move on to the last topic?
Almost last.
What is I don't understand.
There's two left.
Did you find something on the sixth one?
Oh, okay. No.
Okay. That's why I left it out.
Okay, sorry. I fucked up. See, I'm not reading the script. I fucked
Yeah.
up.
The sixth one was from last week. We were trying to see, there was a report of a
Okay.
story that there were 9,000 indictments that went out to nobody knows who or who's gonna be indicted, but there's 9,000 they're just sitting on for some reason.
Yeah, well,
And
anytime I see the number 9,000 used, sorry, I don't buy it.
why? What's with 9,000?
From the summer of lulz.
Oh,
Plus 9,000.
But okay, that makes sense. But it was only on like really alt-right websites when I
Yeah,
tried to look
figures.
it up. So I was like, if there is something to it, I can't. when Nazis are, it was on like Daily Stormer or something. Like that's not
Yeah,
those aren't the sources I'm trying to get information from.
no doubt. We'll let that go.
But yeah, and if we see something about it that's legitimate or hear something that we can verify, we'll bring it up on a future show. Okay, we're going to be talking about the war on sex next, or sex trafficking. Under the guise of a war on sex trafficking, the Trump administration, many who, like Trump, were longtime supporters of prostitution themselves, are waging an all-out war on sex workers, driving many of them back out on the corners to work in even more unsafe conditions than before. Many of the quote-unquote for the people Democrats also supported the passing of this bill. Crazy stuff for a guy who pays prostitutes, like that's what he's famous for, to be going on an all-out war on sex workers, trying to say he's fighting sex traffickers.
Well, this isn't, again, people in Canada are going to say, oh, yeah, we've seen this already. We know what this is about. This is one of the things Stephen Harper did when he was in power in Canada. There was the law on prostitution was deemed to be unconstitutional in Canada, the law that was on the books. So the government had 2 years to come up with a new law. And basically nobody got charged until they came up with a new law. So they asked for an extension. And then when they finally come up with a new law, it left out the 2 or 3 sentences that the Supreme Court of Canada said was unconstitutional. And it was basically unchanged. And it had different language. And it went even further to prosecute sex trade workers just like this. And it was made law with majority. And now we're waiting for it to get back to the Supreme Court to start the exercise all over again. So we've seen this shit before. Who does it benefit? It benefits rich people who don't want to get caught. It benefits black market activities. It benefits nobody who's part of the above board economy. It just makes more problems.
But I think fundamentally telling people what they can and can't do with their bodies, their own bodies, it blows my mind.
Well,
like sex trafficking is one thing, but if a person wants to say, hey, I'll give you sex if you pay me, like, I mean, that's their business. I mean, it's okay to do it if they're filming, but if there's no camera, then it's illegal. It just blows. I just don't get it. Like, how the hell does this make any sense? It's legal if you're a white pimp in Nevada. It's way out.
well, I mean, it's the way they name this stuff too. They say it's about sex trafficking, but that's ambiguous. By that, do you mean people being trafficked to work in the sex trade? Or do you mean the selling of sex is trafficking sex? You see, these are the things they build into these bullshit laws.
Yeah, because
They leave holes everywhere.
because the Trump team is like sex trafficking, MS-13, dirty Mexican rapists snatching your white kids up and pimping them out on the streets. At
Build a
gunpoint.
wall!
Build a wall. Yeah, and then
That's right.
and then you do have these terrible people that force other people out on the streets and beat on them and use violence to control them to make themselves money and rob them and everything else. And yeah, that's
Well,
a terrible thing and it needs to be stopped. But if a woman or man or whoever wants to go out and say, hey, this person wants me to have sex with them, I need money, I don't have any money, and I'm not really attracted to them, but it's like a business deal, it's just what I do, that's totally their business. I don't see how that affects anybody else or should be illegal.
well, again, this is an agenda. This is because a certain part of society wants it. And we know what part of society that is.
In this country, that certain part of society is the same part that watches more porn, hires more prostitutes, and sexually harasses more women than the other part because they believe women are property and objects. And Trump is part
Okay.
of that, and these religious people that all get caught, you
Okay.
know.
So what would this law do? It would give them more power.
How?
And
Then they
it's
can then what they do is more illegal.
no, it's not. I mean, it's just like here when they made the law in Canada for decades. There has been no law that says sex for money is illegal. What is illegal is communicating that transaction. What is illegal is advertising that service. What is illegal is hiring security to work in that industry. So if by ESP you can make a deal with a prostitute and you never say a word and you just walk away and do your exchange, that's legal. But if anybody says a price list or asks for a specific service, now you're breaking the law. And this is the way they
Unless it's
strangle
being
it.
filmed or live streamed, then it's perfectly legal.
What?
I said unless it's being filmed or live streamed, then you can pay people for sex. It becomes
Mm.
porn. At least in this country, that's how it works.
Well, there has to be disclaimers and waivers signed beforehand. But anyway, but they bring these laws up to make it sound like they're doing the moral thing. But all they're really doing is making it more dangerous for sex workers and criminalizing them with no purpose in it other than to make an us versus them. That's it. And it plays to the evangelicals, the Christian conservatives who have money to donate.
Yeah, I think a lot of sex workers were using websites where they could advertise and be safer than having to be out in the streets. You know what I mean? Walking around.
Yep.
And I think that the report was that government had made it where these websites would be liable
Yep.
for anything that happened that was advertised on the website or something. So the website said, "Screw this, we're not going to deal with this," and then shut down. And then now you have all these men and women who are sex workers that how are they going to make their money? They got to go out in the streets because they can't advertise, right?
That's right.
And that's
And
when
this
the
is,
pimps will find people and people can get robbed and killed and beaten
but
and
this is
kidnapped.
how right wing cock sucking governments sell these laws, that they're taking the moral high ground. But what they're doing is not saying you can't be a prostitute. You're just not allowed to actually be a business person. We're going to make you go back out under the street lamp like people did over 100 years ago.
Just
That's
seems
what they're doing.
it just seems odd under the Trump administration. Like I said, Trump is notorious. Every woman he's been with, he's offered money to. It's like the standard with him. Like, I'm paying for sex. I'm an
Well,
ugly piece of shit. I got this weird looking hair. Nobody wants me. So I'm
then
paying
don't
for it.
then don't you think he'd like to eliminate the pimp, save some money?
We all want to eliminate the pimp because pimps are violent assholes that fucking are robbing the people that work for them or their victims. A lot of them are forced. A lot of the
But
time. You know what I
but
mean?
what these laws do is prevent the workers from being their own pimps. They're either independents with absolutely no security, or they have to go back to the old school. That's why these laws don't help. They make things worse.
Yeah, I know that. It just seems really hypocritical coming from this administration. And the people might be saying, "Oh, well, Pence hates that." No, Pence supports Trump 1,000%. He's just waiting for that guy to get impeached, and then he's hoping he's not going to get in trouble with him for whatever the hell. He's been lying a lot too. But the thing about this is, Pence might hire prostitutes all the time. We never know that shit. He might hire male prostitutes. So You know, that's the we've said this before. The more quote unquote moral and traditional value oriented these people are, the more crooked we find out eventually the stuff they're doing. You know what I mean? It's totally the opposite of the shit they preach publicly.
Yeah, but that's the play.
But why?
Uh,
Why? What does it matter? Oh, I I I I mean, I don't understand. Like, I can understand why Trump wants to hide the P tapes that are starting to seem like they might actually exist now. That's just some weird fetish shit, and it's disrespecting a black president before him, showing he's a total racist piece of shit. And I wonder if he says the N word in those tapes, and that's why he doesn't want them. That's what I've always thought, because he had these prostitutes peeing on a bed Obama slept in. I'm thinking there's something more to this than just the P tapes, because nobody doesn't think that's something Trump wouldn't do. Hire a bunch of prostitutes and pee all over each other. I mean, he claims to be a germaphobe, but he's barebacked. Every woman's claimed he's barebacked him. Kisses him on the mouth, grabs him. You know what I mean? You can't be that much of a germaphobe all of a sudden. It's just nothing this fucker says makes any sense.
it doesn't have to. That's the problem.
Yeah, I guess that's the new political way. You can say anything you want, and then change the entire story and tell the total opposite of your first lie, and nobody will blink an eye. They'll be like, "Oh, he changed his mind. He just lied the first time, or he's just lying now. Oh well, that's how he is. No big deal. We don't mind our presidents being lying pieces of shit." And this guy doesn't even try to cover it up. At least Obama knew there was a thing called the internet and Google, where he had to kind of try to, you know.
Yeah, but it's not a conscious decision. I mean, let's face it. Barack Obama is not an idiot. He's a very intelligent man, and he could think more than 10 minutes in the fucking future. That's the difference between him and Trump.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I've said that on my show. Yeah, Obama is a war criminal. He killed a lot of innocent people, and nothing was ever said. But with him in control, you didn't think that there could be a nuclear war tomorrow.
He's a very charismatic war criminal.
Well,
Very intelligent, charismatic war criminal. I mean,
he wasn't a face in the crowd. That's my whole point.
yeah. I mean, like I said, if he wasn't a war criminal, he'd probably be the kind of guy that most people want to be around. Him and his family, they're like great people. But I mean, you know, just from the image, if you don't have the politics involved, and you don't know how terrible people they really are. I'm just saying, you know, they're like the kind of person you say, oh, these are great people. How many people want the Trump family to come to dinner? To a barbecue
Well,
at their house.
what you have to remember there is the narrative that wants to be presented to keep this image of a war criminal. It depends on the war criminal more than anything else, because if he can't pull it off, you're dead in the water. And that's the biggest problem with Trump. The guy can't pretend he's got class for more than 5 fucking seconds.
Yeah, I mean, even the Bushes were better at him than him. And
Oh, yeah.
And that's
Yeah.
insane. Who would have ever thought we'd say we are somewhat dumber and more stupid than George W. Bush in office?
Hold my beer.
Yeah. Wow. Oh, wait, the chat. I just clicked back to the chat. I had gone to the track list. Good job, Glenn.
I
And
guess.
Glenn responded, LOL. Oh, man. I like that. Good job, Glenn. That's why you're on here. You make me
I
look
guess.
good.
I guess.
I look 5% more professional just for having you on the show. People say he's a little bit more believable today.
Oh, God.
You are my sunshine, Glenn. Oh man, so we're an hour and 19 minutes into the show, and we got through all the topics. Anything else we need to talk about? She
Hmm.
said,
I don't know.
wait, 20 minutes late. Oh, I think I just saw the chat 20 minutes after she said that. Oh, and you make me look actually 33% cooler, so that's good.
That's according to a poll.
A very valid Judith poll. Judith poll.
Well, that kind of
P
worked
O
out.
E L
L.
L.
No, I can't think of anything else that's pressing. What the hell? Like you said, good luck with your May Day op on looking at the end result. I think that is something that needs a lot more attention than the same old parade. Like you said, there's going to be lots of coverage on that. Go for something else. Good plan.
Yeah, I mean, if I get it, I get it. If I don't, I could show up and there'd be no Nazis, and that wouldn't that be a beautiful thing? Let the people have their day without having to hear racist bullshit on megaphones being spewed across the street at them. Um, but yeah, and heads up, I might, if you're in the LA area and you're around downtown that day, which is Tuesday, May Day, um, and I start seeing activity, like where the Nazis are, I'll start live streaming and shouting out locations. If any anti-fascists are around, show up. Listen to People's Radio, or check our YouTube channel, then the Twitter, my Twitter, the Tim Best Buds, and I'll definitely start putting up live streams if I see them coming from where they're at. Maybe we can make them leave before they even get to the police station. You know,
Hmm.
if the streets are blocked off and it's a real hassle for the police to try to get them there, they might just be like, "Look, today's not going to work out." But we need all these thousands and tens of thousands of people to say, "Screw the barbecue, screw the festivities and the stages and the celebrities. Let's go run these Nazis out of town first, and then let's go over here and have some fun." But they don't seem to care. They're like, "Oh, just ignore them. Let them have their free speech. They're not bothering anyone. Let's all go over here and celebrate." Fuck that. There's Nazis around. You know, we
Yeah.
outnumber them and the police. Run them out of town. We could just stomp over them and the police. The police would have to shuffle. They wouldn't be expecting it. The Nazis have to run like hell. They're not escorted. Whoop some ass on the way out. Let them get to their cars if they can, and then party in the streets. That's my advice to everybody. No, they're not very fine people. So yeah, if I do see that, I'm gonna start shouting out locations as soon as I know, so they won't be able to be protected as much. If you all want to do something and show up, let's hopefully this will get out there and somebody will be around waiting. Just stay around the city hall area downtown. That's where it's gonna be happening. What is it, like 100 or 200 Spring Street, the police station across the street from the park right there. Be in that area. I'll shout it out if I see anything. So there's another rant, but it will happen on Tuesday.
Right on.
Um, cool. So thanks, Glenn, and thanks, listener Judith Poe. Actually, we may have more listeners. I don't know. I just see her in the chat. Nobody ever wants to chat with us, Glenn.
Oh well.
There was a time we were chatting with each other, you and me, while the show is going, but I think that just got boring because we're talking already.
Yeah.
So
One
cool.
conversation with each other at a time is good.
Yeah, it's just overloading my brain. I have to type to Glenn and talk to Glenn. This is out of the ordinary. So yeah, thank you to everyone listening or who will listen. And yeah, like I said, the People's Radio United YouTube or the I'll Periscope on Twitter, depending on the situation and my bandwidth and all that, on Tuesday, May 1st, sometime around 2 to maybe 1 to. It starts at 4, so I don't know what time they're coming, so I'm going to get there early. Just stay tuned from around 1 and see if I pop up on there or something. So cool. We're going to end it now.
Alrighty.